My name is Christy Busby, and you are about to listen to the next episode of my podcast called Fate, From Atheism to Enlightenment. So come on in, join me. We're going to talk about it all, from atheism to enlightenment. Alrighty, guys, here we go. Get ready, and welcome to your fate. Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of Fate. How's everybody doing today? On today's show, I have Marzcia Techau. She is coming all the way from Denmark. She is a spiritual healer, a medium, a clairvoyant, an author. She has a master's of biological sciences, and she is here today to talk about her latest book, Your Soul, Your Life, A Guide to Healing and Self-Healing. It's my favorite topic. Welcome to your fate, Marzcia. How you doing today?
I'm doing very, very good. And thank you very much for having me here. I'm so happy to be here with you, Christy. And I really love to talk to you. So yeah, hoping it's going to be a really good talk.
It's going to be a great talk. It's one of my favorite topics. I myself have had pretty bad health issues in my life. So to bring someone like you on the show and be able to bring this to my audience and to even myself is a great gift. So I do appreciate your time today for sure. All right, let's get into it. Let's start at the very beginning with your spiritual gifts. How did you become a clairvoyant, or were you always gifted, or how did this all begin for you?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's it could be a long story, but I'm trying to do it short.
Take your time. Take your time. Although we do have a lot to get to today.
Yeah, that because you have made those wonderful questions. So I'm so grateful for them. So first, I'm born highly sensitive, and my sensitivity has a lot of things with sensing other people very, very clearly. So when I was a child, I was very overwhelmed by people, and I preferred to stay with animals because animals is like they love you when they love you, and if they don't, they just go away. But they are always very happy to see you. And for me, this heart-to-heart contact with animals also kept my heart open and strengthened my empathy, and I was really feeling secure with animals. So that was one of the things that I used a lot when I was a kid. So I didn't notice so much about my uh, spiritual gifts in that direction, besides that I was keeping away from humans. But when I was 18 and 19, I started to have dreams about warning dreams about this. And those premonitions dreams were quite scary for me because when I started to have them, I dreamt, I had a sheep that I really loved dearly, and we had a telepathic contact. And when I was finished with the gymnasium, is like high school in the States, I went to Iceland from Denmark because I've been riding Icelandic horses the most of my life. So I went to Iceland for 3 weeks. And when there was 1 week left, I had this dream with my sheep that was dying, and it was like a very clear dream. And I woke up and was really afraid. So I just went to a shop, bought a big postcard with a ram on it. It's really a big male sheep, really nice. And I sent it to my parents because my sheep was there. And I just said, hanging on there, zigzag scene, I will be home in a week. And actually my parents have buried her and took the postcard out of the mailbox and picked me up in the airport in that day when I arrived. And my parents didn't really think about it, but I thought a lot about it because it was a week ago. So I knew her death before she was even dying. And I experienced that a couple of times. And it made me wonder, how could I know that? What happened and what's actually about this? And then yeah, it started from there. So from the late teens and up, it has been really an enormous part of my life.
So you basically started having premonitions, which led you to believe, like, oh, I have gifts. I have the ability to foresee certain things. What other premonitions did you end up having as a did this scare you at all, or did
It
you embrace, or
scared
were
me
you a
really
spiritual
much.
person?
Yeah, it scared me really much. And I really, I'm, it was also like I have always been very afraid of seeing dead people. So it's
Mm.
like I had these dreams and I had this fear of seeing dead people and I didn't know what to do. So it actually I kept it really, really like it's not existing, it's not existing. It was like my brain knew it was there, but I was trying to keep a distance. And then I took a Reiki one when I was in the middle of my 20s, and then it really exploded because the Reiki it's like this healing form. It strengthens you in your abilities to be who you are. And my
Mm.
routine was really much to be a spiritual medium. But again, that's a little problematic when you're actually afraid of it. But
Yeah.
I really love to heal. So I started to heal and I started to notice that when I was healing people, their soul, their inner light grow. And I really love to be in contact with people's soul. And in that way, the healing opened me to be more in contact with other people and loving it and enjoying it. So the healing helped me to more and more, open me for the world, open me for contact with other people. And then when it went on a little, and in the late 20s, I met the my spouse that I have now. So it's 25 years ago. So and it opened my heart enormously. So when I started to fall in love there, my heart was like opening big time, and with that, my skills to sense the spirit world even more. And then the dead people started to come really much. So it was like, oh my God. It was like, when I was about 21 or so, I'm grown up on the countryside. And as every other, country child, we had to go into the city to get an education. And I started when I was 21. I was in the first place I moved to from my parents, and the farm was to an old place that had been a hospital. And after it has been a hospital, it has been a home for elderly ladies, single ladies. And I was lying in that room, and I was seeing all those ladies just flying through the walls and was like, not existing, not existing. And I had so much. No, 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 no. So when I'm in the late 20s, it's like moved outside the country again. I moved into, not into a forest, but next to a forest, just a little bit of house. And it was feeling like I was going every day. There was so many dead people around me. So it was like I was walking on a street full of people in the middle of the city all the time. And I was like, okay, am I crazy or do I have skills? So it's like,
Well, you don't seem crazy to me.
and then so I had two possibilities. I could go to the doctor or I could try to go to, in Denmark, we have schools for education to educate people with skills. So I went to a school and I said, I just want to shut it off. I want to finish my biology degree and live a normal life. And my
Wow.
teacher then was like, you're allowed to start. And then I know because now I'm myself when I'm scanning my students when I have to teach them to use their psychic abilities. I ask, do they have are they ready? Do they have what they should have and everything like that? And I know when she looked at me, she was like, just come here. of course you can close it down. Of course you can continue as a normal human being. And it has been the most fantastic thing for me because she learned me how to, close down when I'm not working and opening up when I do work. And in that way, I can be a normal person the most of the time. And then, a bit extraordinary in my sensory system when I work. So in that way, I really got the help from getting I've got help to, the education helped me to master my skills and also to be me. And the spirit worlds have helped me very much to be grounded and be present as a human being. So yeah, I would say it has opened my life very much.
I mean, it's a fascinating story. I can't even imagine going through
It was a bit
being
very scary.
oh my word. Well, let's talk a little bit about the book. I mean, I read the book and I thought it was fascinating. Some of the stuff that I think is in particular interesting to me is how complex healing can be and
Yeah.
how um there how complex human beings in general are as far as our emotional, our physical, our soul. You know, you really get into that in the book and in all capacities. Let's talk a little bit about you talk about 4 planes of being a human. Can you talk about that? And in particular, we'll get into the concept a little bit of what soul essence is and what that concept means.
Of course. Yeah, I've been working for with this for over 20 years now, and I have my own clients and my own students now, and in all that work, I have been seeing some patterns. Of course, I have also had a little science way of doing things because the biological background is like it's just built into my way of seeing things. So it's like I'm always looking for patterns and how can we do that and what's that. And in that way, I have been seeing that we have, as many others also have seen, but we have this physical plan. Of course, this physical body and physical realm that we are in. We have this emotional plan, and we also have the mental plan. And then we have the spiritual plan. So in that way, I have this 4 plans. So we have the soul plan, the emotional plan, the mental plan, and the physical plan. And when those 4 plans are aligned, it's like then you are whole, then you are aligned with yourself and the universe and the divine at the same time. And your intuition is quite strong there because your intuition is actually when every part of you is speaking together with yourself and the greater the greater good or the highest good. So in that way, those plans are mostly we are not aligned, and that makes some that could be blockage, that could be patterns, it could be different things. But when they are aligned, you are really feeling alive and like belonging and steady and strong in yourself, and your soul is radiating out of your center of you. And instead of a lot of you know uh, different kind of traumas or other things that could inhibit your soul starts to really help you to manifest what lies within your soul, help you to manifest your calling and what you are here to do. And I really like that work. But to stay in these 4 plans helps you to find out, is it emotional? We have the problem. Is it mental? Is it physical? And also, what readiness do you have to develop? So
Yeah.
where do you have your challenge right now is also the biggest development you can have right now, because that's your readiness. So when something pops up, it's also, even though it's like it's a challenge, or it could be a trauma, or it could be something really we really don't like it, but it's still the best opportunity you have right now to develop. So in that way, when you look at your 4 plans, It's like, okay, I work a little there and there and there. So it's not spiritual everything. Sometimes you have to go to do something physical because it's there. It's the problem is. And all of the plants are working together. So when you have a stuckness in one plant, it will affect the other plants. Except
Yes.
so the soul is really free, but it cannot always interact with the body if the body is closed down or blocked, or if you're emotional blocked, or if you're mentally blocked. So the healing process heals, from the bottom up or from the top down. If it can heal from the physical realm into the emotional, mental, and soul plan. But the soul plan can also heal from soul, emotion, mental, and physical. So they're just really aligned and connected.
It's fascinating to me how important your emotions are,
Yeah.
how important prior trauma is.
Oh,
Even
yes.
in prior lives, we come in to this life with a level of wisdom, if you want to call that, or experience, or trauma sometimes
Yeah.
from previous lives that could be impacting us in our health, in our current lives. And that is something that I don't think a lot of people actually have a real handle on or understanding of. So, can we talk a little bit about the soul and what it brings to us and what can happen if you do have some trauma from another life and what that can look like when you come here?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, of course, as I see it, our body has a limited time, but our soul has unlimited in time. So it's internal. And your soul has a lot of different lives, and you bring knowledge with you from all those lives. And that means that the skills you have today, what you are good at today, the talents you have today is actually connected with a lot of learnings that you have been doing for many, many lives. So you're not a blank sheet of paper that arrives to this earth. You have a lot of capacity with you from your soul, also from your lineage, but we take that later on. But you have that from your soul. And mostly it's good stuff. So the thing is, when you read something from like Newton, his books about the soul, he talks about between lives. And when I do the healing work, actually I connect to this uh, dimension, because for me it's the dimension where the souls and the angels and everybody is. And I look at work from people explaining near death experiences, because they talk about entering this space, but we are connected with that all the time. Our soul is connected with the divine because our soul is divine. So our soul has a lot of knowledge. It has a lot of divine energy and life force, because when you have a near death experience, the soul experience something, you are clinical death. But when it's not your time. Okay, it's not my time. Bang. And then life starts. So our soul also contains a lot of life force, life energy. So the more you are in contact with your soul and live according with your soul, the more life energy you also have, and the better contact you have both to your potentials, your life energy, and the divine, and can live in accordance with your path. So that's what it is. And of course, we have some traumas. You asked about the trauma, but we always talk so much about the trauma, but we actually have much more good than trauma. But of course, let's talk about the trauma as well. So you have been, you're dead, and now it's your time again to live. And you have said, okay, I would really much like to do better than I did last time. And I would like to investigate these areas. It could be anger, it could be despair, it could be how to lift up the humanity and stuff like that. And when you're up there, it's simple. It's like, yes, I can do it. And then you land down here. It's like, I'm sorry, can I mean,
Check, please. Check, please.
So what it is, if you have when you are soul, you are not physical at all. And your emotion, as a soul, you have a big capacity to contain emotions. So when you enter the physical realm, you go into a place where emotions are not that easily, sadness, anger, stuff like that. When you go into a lower degree of frequency and you land in those, there you can come in contact with traumas or things that you haven't really worked properly through when you lived last time. So when you come down, you also connect to something you have left behind that you have to work with. And you can only work with it when you are here physically. And that's some of the trauma we have with us from the past life, the karmic trauma. So you have to go down here to solve it or do better. And you wish to do that because there is some soul that, again, every trauma you have contains a possibility to spiritual growth and learning. So it's not bad that you have trauma. You can also learn in the good way. So you can also learn, I call it, actually, I don't know the word for that. When the wind is blowing and it's like, it's really hard. So you work against the wind. So that's the trauma work. But you could also take the other one where the wind is in your back and, it's so easy to bicycle and everything is a joy. You can actually learn from both parts. So in that way, you have the trauma and it's something that you had to deal with because you didn't deal with it. You didn't digest it or you didn't process it when you lived last time. And now you're ready to take the turn. So that's what the karmic trauma is.
And is what you're kind of saying, if you don't address that prior trauma or work on that, can that show up as illness or disease in your body? Is that
both illness, disease, but it could also be patterns. It could be fear. It could be sadness. It could be the feeling, or I will never succeed, or I'm not this. If you have done something that you feel a lot of guilt from, and you're born into that feeling of guilt, you will not necessarily have a illness, but you will feel guilty all the time, not really knowing why, but it's like a ground feeling in a basic feeling within you. I see it when we come into this life, we have like some building blocks within our soul, something that we have with us. And also the karmic trauma stuff is some of those building bricks. But if it's dark, heavy, you can transform it and it can be light and it could actually evolve your soul and your life. So go into this karmic trauma will also help you to grow as a human being. And when you die the next time, you will not have to come back to something. You can come back to something good because you have solved it. So in a way, it's very good to take to work with your karmic trauma. And some you have in the state, you have Jim Tucker. He works with reincarnation and children talking about past lives. So it's quite interesting to hear what they have experienced from the past life. And some of the things that there is a Netflix series called Surviving Death. And
I've seen it.
Yeah, perfect. He's talking about, there is part there when he shows a sequence where there is some of those children that grow up and they haven't solved the trauma that they were talking about as a child. And there is one that had, because his parents, he was waking up fearful and talking about Jack and an airplane that was crashed. And they found out that this was a pilot that died. I think it was in 1940 outside Japan during the war. And they actually took to Japan, there where the flight was, it was in the deep water. And when he passed that spot, he started really to cry and release something. So somehow he got connected or a closure somehow. And he actually grew up and went to be very happy boy. And that's actually what I see karmic trauma does. We go back, we heal, somehow we get a closure and we can grow. If we do not get that closure, it's like glue, we will stick to it. So that's how I see the karmic trauma is affecting us in different parts. Not necessarily, as I said, physical sickness. It could be patterns. It could be how you think about yourself, beliefs, emotions.
That is, I think if people understood that we really do carry around more emotional baggage than we ever are aware of. And when we're born, it also speaks to the fact that, like, I have two sisters and we are all so different. We were raised by the two parents, but it really speaks to this idea that you really do come in with a certain, maybe not fully formed, but semi-formed traits, personalities,
Yeah.
things of that nature that have you been carrying with you for however many lives you have experienced. I have a question. Will my does my personality stay, like, when I go on, am I the same, are we the same personality in every life in a way? Like, I know I could be a boy, I could be a girl, I could do many things in life, but is my core when I how much do we stay the same, do you think, in every
Yeah.
iteration of our lives? Like, I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, it's again, I will refer to Michael Newton's theory that we are not incarnated with all our souls every time, only a part of our soul. So I think in that way, we could have different personas that we are trying out of our soul. So maybe we are not really the same, but if we go into the deep core of our soul, I really believe that we are quite the same, but we can experience different kinds of personas or experiences. That's a part of the involvement process. The more the merrier you are as a soul, the more you can contain differences, and the more you build up to master life. So I would definitely say that in one life your personality would be extrovert, like I'm on, and another's like okay, I'm so more, it's two different kinds of experience life, but it's still a really important learning for your soul.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Let's let's talk a little bit. One of the things that I like about your book is that you do diagrams of the healing process and the connection between you, the deceased person, maybe that's assisting in the healing, your soul, spirit. You show the kind of chain of healing events that happens through these various dimensions, conduits.
yeah.
Let Can we talk a little bit about your healing process when you have somebody come in that is seeking healing, whether it be emotional, physical, whatever that is, and what your process is to get them to the other side and become a healed, whole
Yeah.
soul?
Yeah, okay. I will. The first that's very important for me, it's actually that I'm in the right state of not mind but emotional when I start the healing process. So I always connect to the healing energy, or what I call the pillar of light, which is actually connecting to the dimension I was talking about before. That is near death dimension, or the divine dimension, where the so I have to be in a very good contact with the divine, or the most clear, loving place in the universe. Because for me, it's quite important that when I open up to connect with the healing energy, be channeled for that. It's the most loving place, the purest place that you can connect. So I connect with that, and I ask for help for me to be healed, to be the best channel that I can be for the healing that's waiting to come through to my client, because every client is different. Everything they need is different. So I have to attune my channel to be channeled to exactly that energy that my client needs. So I start with that. And after that, I talk, of course, with my client what they want healing for, and we investigate that a little. And when they say they're ready to get a healing, I lie them on a table. And then I hold the space. So they are in the middle of a very big healing space or presence of the healing energy. And then when I open up, I ask for help from the spirit world. So I ask that everybody that has something positive uh, to give to my client are welcome. So in that way, I ask for that everyone in the spirit world that have the heart, the pure heart and love and capacity to heal my client enter. And that could be angels, that could be Jesus, that could be loved ones from spirit world, it could be God, guide. It could, even though it also, I work a lot with the spirit world connected to nature. So it could be, elves, divas, even dragons. Everything's welcome because, we are so different people. So and our soul has been in so many different lives. So if I heal a person in this life that has a trauma in this life, it's really, really mm, possible that they also have had traumas like that in past lives, or that the family in the lineage, that some of the ancestors have had that trauma or have created that trauma as an epigenetic trauma transferred. So I open up for the possibility so everybody can come and help my client. So when my client is ready for the healing and has looked at this, I would like to heal this trauma. I would like to heal this problem and this pattern. Then they can come in and help. But you have to be ready. So when you're ready, they can come. So I just, I hold the space, I'm a channel, and I invite the ones in. And the healer is only one of the team healing the client. Actually, I'm more like holding the space, and the spirit world and the divine are creating the healing and the client itself. So the readiness in the client and the healing energy, they are making the healing. I'm just a channel holding the space and doing it in a way that the interaction between the client and the spirit world can go so strong and positive and loving as possible.
I have several questions. One is there anything that you can't heal, like a virus, a bacterial infection, a parasitic infection? That's one question. My second question is, how important is belief in healing? My third question
Oh,
is
yes.
is and we can take these, we can parse them out, of course, but um what do you say to skeptics, people that don't that are maybe very sick and maybe willing to venture out? For me, I kind of got into energy healing because I went through Western medicine and it didn't help me at all. So I started getting into Reiki, into energy healing, into plant medicine journeys only out of necessity, not because I actually believed in these things at that time. So I guess the first question was, is there anything you can't heal?
Yeah. It's what I always really tell my client is that I can never promise anything.
Mm.
It's so important because many healers promise, I can cure your cancer. And a person that has cancer don't really need to feel that's their own fault if they are not curing cancer. So if the healer says, I can cure cancer, and if you're not cured, it's your own fault because you didn't do enough. Or it's like, it's so important that I've been working with cancer patients for many, many years. And I have been working with some that was healed and the cancer disappeared, and some that I was following through the terminal phase. And also I attended when they were dying. And I also went to to the funerals. And, it, you know, we have to die. It's a part of this. This body cannot last. And it's part of our journey also to experience to pass away. It's, we are born and we are dying, and
Yep.
that's final.
We're not getting out of this alive. We're all we're all fellow travelers to the grave. We
So,
are.
so what I normally say is that the healing is the healing can support your nervous system to relax. So if you're stressed out, if you have a lot of fear, if you have a lot of trauma, you can release your excited state and went into a more relaxed state where your body can get help to start to recover. Because when you have a sympathetic a nervous system response, that's alert, that's arousal, and if you have that really much, there's a lot of blood contained in your vessels that are connected to you can run and you can fight, but not to digest, not to improve your immune system, not to really get better or improve your digesting and your taking up nutrients and so things like that. So the healing helps you to change the shift in your nervous system to parasympathetic nervous system, so you can actually start helping the body to be recovering itself and emotionally and mentally. So the healing can do that, but it can also sometimes do much more than that. So I just, hold the space, and I have trust in my client's readiness and the spirit world, and also trust and respect for my client's path in life. So you can get a healing and it will be marvelous. It's like you're feeling so good and everything is solved like this. Or it would also be a little better. But again, what I normally say, spiritual work or personal development can be messy. So it can actually be that you feel worse. But then when my clients phone me or my students said, I feel so bad. And I was like, oh, that's very good. You're releasing stuff. What emotions do you have? Angry. How old do you feel you are at that anger? I'm sad. Healing to the 5 years. You are grown up right now. So the 5-year-old have to have healing, because now the 5-year-old can express its anger. You have locked that anger inside. And now you can use it. You can let go of the anger and turn it into a power to stand your ground as a grown up. So in that way, healing works in so different paths in a person. So what I will say is that I'm very, I'm not normally, if people have a psychose, like they are psychotic, I will recommend them to go to a doctor for emergency help. If they are, suicidal or something like that, I will enter a prayer and send them to the hospital. But if you're stabilized, if you're you're not in a very dangerous state, then I would say healing would be very good. But I have this that, okay, if you really need help not to kill somebody or kill yourself, then it's another place. But there's really much other places where you can heal. What I also like is that I have the acceptance from the person that receives the healing. So if I don't have that, I can pray. I have a very big faith in praying. It's a very strong way of letting God and the angel take care. But just that you have this deep intent to notice and ask for help for others is really a good way if you don't have the acceptance for healing. And that was one of the questions. The other one was what you had for.
What do you kind of rounded on it a little bit, but what do you say to people that don't believe in this type of healing, that come to you that are complete skeptics? How do you confront those types of cases where people are coming to you out of desperation and yet they don't truly understand or accept your ability to heal?
Then the thing is that the skepticism or not believing is a mental thing. The healing works much more in connecting with your sensory system and your senses. So healing creates a loving, peaceful environment. And that's talking to interact with your body and your emotions. So healing works just like your autonomic nervous system that always check out, is there danger? Is it a good person? Can I be safe? But the brain is not connected with that. But what happens is it's like healing creates this loving feeling of, home or being safe, or at last you can let go and it's okay to let your tears come, or it's okay to feel emotions. So in that way, it's not talking to the brain, it's talking to the rest of the body. And that's also why it works, because it bypasses your mental beliefs and your blockage there and talks straight to your body and your soul and your emotion, and then the mind will follow after. You get what I was talking about the readiness. You could be ready emotionally, physically. The soul is always ready. It's just like, yes, I'm going to die. But it's like, so what the mind maybe not be ready. But if the other three is ready, they will just be ready and work on the brain. And suddenly the brain will, hey, what the? So that it will. I'm not that. So when a child is a little one, you cannot regulate your nervous system yourself, because you cannot, in a way, you cannot feel yourself. You regulate your nervous system in accordance with your parents' nervous system and surroundings. So you feel the surroundings and adjust after that. And that's your nervous system. That's your sensory system. And a healing creates a room where your sensory system senses that and responds to this feeling of being loved, or it's safe, or it's peaceful, or it's full of strength that you can take in, and that you are unconditional loved and accepted. And it's like, oh, that's how it feels. And when you start to sense that, your nervous system starts to feel, okay, it's like, I've been loved all my life. Okay, that's it. And you can feel stronger. Or there's a lot of, the healing comes with a lot of surplus of emotional energy. It's like the healing enters with a lot of love, that your heart is lying in that love, coming, recharging, starting to believe in love again. And you start to open your heart, and your own soul's loving energy starts to, emerge from you. It's like, oh, that's it. But what's happening is actually that the healing energy comes with the extraordinary emotional energy, physical energy, mental energy. So you get help to those part of you. So it comes with extra energy just to you. And your system starts to recharge and get balanced again and grow and evolve. So it doesn't really matter if you believe or not, because the rest of your system just reacts.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that, because I can imagine, do you see mostly people that have exhausted all other efforts and are coming to you as kind of a last measure because they're going through the normal medical healthcare system and it hasn't been able to get them to the point of healing? Do you find that most of your clients are in that category, or?
Not anymore. In Denmark, it has been, when I started up, 23 years ago, it was a bit different, but there has been a lot of development in Denmark, in the public, not in the hospital yet. I'm working on that. But one of the TV shows that I've been invited to, there I had the theme was actually healing the last way or the last way out. I don't and it's just direct translate. But what it means is like there was the last possibility. I just had to try that, as you said before.
Yeah.
And I worked with a woman that had got a very, um, very bad fear of going outside. She was
Oh.
really, really, really afraid. She couldn't go out to the house at all, not even to deliver the garbage in the garbage can.
She was agoraphobic.
Really, really much. And she was that because she had a firm business, and one of the employees was not very happy. I don't know if he was fired or what. So he got into her home and tried to strangle her twice with a rope. Twice, and she was barely surviving, but she did. And of course, she had a lot of fear, and everything was like that. And I think it was 8 years ago when I started to work with her. And she hadn't even been to a chiropractor, one that could help her to get her body back in shape again. She was, of course, really. So it was like, how can a person not attending the proper help? But again, I was healing her, and we also took, different kind of measures on her, like blood pressure and everything else. We did that when we were healing. And I think I had her, I think for 3 months, maybe I had her five times or so. And the last part of the show was that she was walking in a grocery store by herself, buying grocery and feeling good. And it's like, why should she wait so long? And why should healing be the last way out? It should be the first, because Reiki 1 is actually attending self-healing. Like I see like a first aid thing you always have with you. As in Denmark, we have a little first aid box. You should have plaster. You should have everything. But Reiki is like, it's your first healing thing, and you don't have to have Reiki. You can connect with what I use, the pillow of light, and just ask for help and lie your hands upon yourself. It's with you all the time. It should be taught in schools so you can learn to self-regulate your nervous system easily.
I agree. I think that the future of medicine is more going this way in the spiritual world, and really talking about prior trauma that you've brought into this world, to really talk about inner child work, which we're going to get to here in a minute. Many people don't know that our ancestors have also come into this life with trauma from our lineage, of our ancestral trauma that we bring in. We're just not aware of how many things affect us physically, emotionally, and mentally when we get here. And I don't think that our modern day medicine even acknowledges that it is a thing, that it exists, that it's something that needs to be talked about and accepted as scientific, or as fact, at least. How, because you do have a master's in biological sciences and used to be very heavy into research, still are maybe possibly.
No,
How,
I'm, I
I
I had this severe concussion that, said it was a
yeah,
very, a very, very big end of my research career.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
How number one, did you have any problems in the scientific community being a medium, clairvoyant, and having this other spiritual side? And also, how in your own mind did you feel like hard science and spiritual concepts align at all, or did you look at them completely as two separate things?
Okay. Yes. So for me, it was more like, as a biologist, I was very much interested in, how did life start? the beginning of life. What is life? What is life force? How can a child, 2 cells, beepity beepity beep, oh, baby. How? So in that way, it's the same curiosity. It's the same question. So for me, it's, for me, from in my person, it's the same. It's like I investigate uh,
Yes.
as I described, how we are receiving healing because we actually have a physical body that responds on environment. It's like, because of that, the healing works. And because the emotions, because the soul is like emotions or mind is a consciousness that our nervous system mirrors, and that way our soul is in a very close cooperation with our body.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's, for me, it's not different. It's just a continuation of each other. So it has always been quite simple for me. The thing and I went where I took my master, they were really lovely researchers. It was like everything was possible. I was taking my master in terrestrial. I was investigating the plant soil interaction, so the whole ecosystem, and that was what the whole apartment did. And it's like, when I had one of my master had also a research with healing effects on plants. And then each week when the healer will arrive, my colleagues was like, "Okay, is that the healers, Marcia?" "Yes, that's the healers." "Okay," and my healers went in healing the plants. That's because I like to make this bridge building between different kind of disciplines. So I invited the healers in to a cake or ice cream with the researchers. So they were sitting at the table talking to each other, and it was really lovely. Because I was quite good at my normalist research things. They respected me and also said, "Okay, try it on. It's okay. We don't believe it, but just do it." As long as I also did the other things very good. And it was so nice. I really loved my time there.
I love that they were so open
Mm.
to that. I feel like science, at least in the States, isn't quite there yet. I
I
mean,
must say I was so lucky. I planted there with really good people that just had a really open mind and was curious like me. So it's not like that around in Denmark. I was, really lucky.
little unicorn situation there, I guess. Yes, got it. Um, in your book, you talk about the fact that we all have the capability to work on ourselves, to do self healing. There's practices and exercises, and you talk about in your book. Can we get into that? What are some of the things that people can do to tap into their own ability to self heal?
Yeah, of course. The thing you was also asking about before, I would like to, in that part, also just come back to,
Yeah.
because as I see it, trauma is trauma. You can have trauma from your past life. You can have trauma transferred from your lineage, and you can have trauma from this life. But trauma is still trauma, so you can work with it in the same way, even though it could be from different directions. And that's important when you do self-healing work. That's actually to find out, is this trauma from past lives, or is this actually trauma that's transferred from my lineage? Because your ancestors would really much like to help you. So if you succeed, they will succeed. So you have a very, very big back. What can you say? A lot of people behind you that really love you and support you and would like to take the heavy stuff from your ancestors away from you. And they will heal you and they will heal themselves And in that way, when you connect, again, I use the pillar of light. I have some healing meditations that I refer to in the book. The healing meditations I have been recording, and they are on my website. And some of them are free. And one of them that's free is called the pillar of light. So you can start by listening to that, connect with the healing energy, and then you can ask for help for a theme you have. It could be from this life, past life, or it could be from the different kinds of epigenetic things transport from your ancestors. So then start with connecting with the pillar of light, connecting with the healing just for you, or ask for healing for today. So in that way you start slowly and then build up, because you have to, it's not like a visualization. It's more like a sense of contact. Again, a connection. And when you start to have that connection, you have both the connection with your soul and the healing energy. And then you can sense the presence maybe of your loved ones from the other side, or maybe the angels, or maybe, God, the presence of God. It could be what's most, it's like a connection. What the person you are has some likings for something, or a connection with different places in the spiritual dimension, or in the divine dimension. So it's different what you need help for. So the first is the pillar of light. The next is to train, maybe just a short self-healing meditation every day, and then you will start to build up the trust in yourself as receiving the healing, and the trust in the spirit world being there for you. But it's another way of connecting than we are normally used to connecting, because normally we use our brain, but this is more like something else.
Absolutely. And I think it is hard to build up that trust because we are so programmed to not believe that this is a way that we could actually improve our well-being, improve the way we feel every day, that it's hard for most of us to wrap our heads around that we can get into a meditation and visualize a pillar of light and go into this deep space within and actually receive any type of real healing. I think it's difficult for a lot of people to believe, and I think that belief, in my opinion, I think if you don't believe in something, it's that much harder to feel it, to acknowledge it, to spend time in investing in something like self-healing. I think that if more people understood that this is really a energy is real, our souls are much more complicated than we think they are. We are much less physical matter and much more spiritual energy, and that we should start addressing that side of ourself more often.
Right.
Um, let's talk about what are things like inner child work, epigenetic healing, and karmic healing. What are those three things, and how can they help us feel better?
Yeah, it's again, uh, a thing about the soul that's important to remember is that you're alive. That means you're connected with your soul. And the other thing I often talk about to my student is when they ask what is soul and how can I connect, is like we think about it as something extraordinary, something, a Fata Morgana. It's like out there, it's not possible to reach. It's like, okay, sorry, it's in here, you're alive. And and then I say, when you do something that you really like, when you're together with someone you love and you just feel this connectedness, there you're connected with your soul. When you walk in nature and you just feel this connectedness with nature, there you're connected with your soul. If you are a creative person and you are using your creativity and everything else is disappearing from you because you're just so much into this creative process, there you're connected with your soul. So it's with you all the time. And again, in that way, it's much easier to understand. It's just when you relax and feel good, when you are happy, when you are really into something with a feeling of meaningfulness, there you are living in accordance with your soul. So it's not, it's, everyday life has this small moments where the soul is filled in like fulfilling itself instead of all your patterns and your traumas and your thoughts. That it's more like the being of connectedness with yourself, with your life, meaningfulness, or connected with others. And there you have that experiences every day. It's not something that happens when you're really in a deep meditation, but the deep meditation helps you to be more aware of the contact. So in that way, we have the feeling if you are an animal lover and you just pet your dog or your cat or your horse, it's like feeling there, soul to soul, there all the time. You are here all the time. But the self-healing, what I love with self-healing is the way when I guide the self-healing meditations creates a healing environment that your sensory system connects to. So if you cannot find your inner peace, because that's a problem for us living in our Western culture, it's like so busy, so much up in the head. But again, remember your sensory system sends peacefulness and helps you. What you mirror in your environment, you create contact within yourself. So the healing energy creates that peacefulness. And when you're in peace, you feel your soul because there's more quietness. There's not. And one of the other things that's important from the chapter 8 in my book is about self-healing and different exercises. And some of them is the bucket exercise, call it. It was in Denmark it's called put exercise, but I didn't really like that word in English. Well, it's like put is not really the same in Denmark. It's more like a bucket. So it's like, okay, we call it a bucket exercise. So it's like where you let go of other people's emotions or what you have sense of the emotions, the thoughts, the physical tensions, because when you connect with other people, you also receive a lot of information that you're not aware of, and you integrate it in your own self beliefs about yourself or how you feel. So I have this bucket exercise to help the one listening to that healing meditation to sense who are they when they're not carrying other people's stuff. And that's also important when you think about the epigenetic, because then you can also ask, okay, what is this? I release what I have been caring for my mother and for my mother's lineage. So in that way, the bucket exercise could also be used as a healing process to release trauma or beliefs or heaviness that you have received from your ancestors. So that is a simple way to do that. But you could also enter a healing meditation with the subject of ancestor healing, where they come and heal you. And also remember that you have a whole lot of strength. I went to, I had a lot of teaching from a Hawaiian healer called Sean Kayahe. And in those years where I got that teaching on Hawaii, he talked very much about ancestors and that we were the crown jewel of our lineage and that they really wanted to help us. And from that part on, connected with my mediumship, I started to develop this epigenetic healing much more. And the healing meditation with epigenetic healing invites your ancestors to help you, both with the good qualities from the lineage that helps and supports and strengthens you to fulfill your destiny or help you to get in contact with your soul. For me, it's like, it doesn't make sense for me if you have a soul with a lot of abilities and you enter a body that don't have the possibilities to actually outlive those possibilities. So your body and your soul has the possibility. You just have to unlock it. You have to free it. And there the ancestors can help you because you're not coming into a lineage that do not have the experience of what your soul has the experience and what's to do, because it wouldn't make sense. So some of your ancestors had worked with the same things that you really love to work with today, that you're good at today. This is skills that you have inherited from your ancestors, and it's skills that you have been training in your past life. And now in this life, they are connected. You just have to unlock it. You have to develop. You have to trust in yourself. And the ancestors come with that help to make you grow. So there's a lot of positive things from your ancestors as well, and from your past lives. And of course, hopefully you have a lot of good experiences and learning from this life. So you can see there's a lot of trauma, yes. There's a lot of good from your ancestors, from past life, from this life. And you are in the middle of it, living it right now.
I love that. I am absolutely fascinated by, as I've been doing this podcast and learning things like this, really how layered and complex our lives are on this planet. And I don't think that we spend enough time really investigating ourselves and how complex we really are when it comes to our emotions, energy, how it can manifest in our body, blockages. All of those things contribute heavily to our health and our overall mental well-being. And I mean, I read your book and I just thought it was super, super helpful. You do talk about some other concepts that I'd like to ask before we're starting to get into an hour here, but um what is the somatic experiencing method, and how can people benefit from this type of practice? Can you explain what that is?
Yes, I can. Uh, I have also, even though it's not healing, it's for me, it's a very good understanding about how the body reacts and how trauma is released and what happens when trauma releases. And your soul, your life is about how we can best possible release trauma and integrate even more of our soul, like soul retrieval. And we do that by creating space for our soul. So our trauma inhibits the space where the soul can live in our system. So when we releases it, then the soul can create much more better opportunities to express itself, to manifest. And what the somatic experience is talking about is actually how to release trauma in your nervous system, deep in your physical body, and how that is connected to both emotions and beliefs and the physical body. So it's it's Peter Levine that has created or investigated and developed these methods, and it's really, really good. And he had been studying wild animals a lot, and he was thinking, those wild animals do not have trauma the same way that human beings has. Why do they not have that? And one of the things is when a deer is running from the lion, there is different things. As I was talking about before, the sympathetic alarm system, the sympathetic nervous system, the rise cells, the adrenaline goes, it can run really fast. Everything is connected to a lot of big vessels, blood vessels in the muscles, in the legs, and the heart is pumping. They can run. And when they are not dead, because, then they're eaten. But when they survive, we look at those. The lion is tired now and cannot run anymore. So the deer stops up, shakes itself, and starts to eat, as nothing has happened at all. And what actually happens when you release this trauma, your body has this release of locks. And the other thing that's important to say, so we have those responses that the body starts to react on what they didn't what wasn't possible for our living or reaction. So when we talk about trauma in human, it's like a freeze situation. It's like you couldn't run, you right, you're locked. So there is one animal, you can see it in a rabbit when they are afraid, or if they if there is some kind of fox or
Threat.
something, and it's
Yeah.
like it's doing like that. Just freeze, totally freeze. And what's really good about that is that the fox has learned that it's not good to eat animals that are dead by themselves. It's not good. You can die of that.
Yeah.
And the second one is the killing instincts are not being activated because they're
No running.
not running.
Yeah.
So they have to freeze. But what humans do, they have partly freeze things. So a trauma is something that is in a partly freeze situation. And there's a lot of locked in um, arousal, but it's like stuck. And that's because we have another layer of brain. We have our neurocortex, like another kind of a brain in than other mammals have. So we can lock the response. But that means that a lot of people is like going like half freeze like that. But when you are releasing the trauma, so when you go into healing the trauma within your body, so you actually ask or got in contact, it's a very, very gentle way of working. So just go into just asking, not so much what happened, more like what happens in your body. When were you safe before the accident? When were you safe after? So you're going to build up safety because then there is a shift in the nervous system. So instead of being locked, it starts to be relaxed. And when you start to be relaxed, then everything starts to change within you. So the somatic experience method actually works to help people go into relaxation again and reconnect with themselves. Because when you are having a trauma, you disconnect. And
Yeah.
what I talk about in the book is, it's not easy method, but what I talk in the book is like when the body gets into survival mode and make those freeze, you disconnect with some of your soul. And when we releases the trauma, the soul can come back and your nervous system start to mirror the soul. And then, you get the life energy, the movement again. And I think that's the very interesting combination, because I had taken the somatic experience methods practitioner education, because I really find this uh, really nice and intriguing, this combination between trauma, nervous system, and for me also soul. But
Yeah.
of course, that's
So
me.
it is it a hypnosis situation? Is it a meditation situation? Is it just a what exactly is the process? Like what do they
Uh,
do?
it's a very, very you just sit quiet with your therapist
Okay.
and you talk about those things. And then the
Ah,
therapist just slowly gets into, oh, okay, how do you feel right there? What
gotcha. Okay.
muscles there? What happens? What wasn't right there?
Right.
What's like is the somatic experience methods works with regaining the access to your orientation system. So you can you can look, you can hear, it reconnect you with releasing access to your sensory system and your orientating around and within yourself. So it's talk, but it's much more talk about what happens inside your body. Again, what you talked about earlier, it's not happening in your brain. We are talking to the body, to the nervous system, and the body will start to heal itself, because the body just needs time and love and being secure, and then it will start to heal.
It's interesting because our bodies do want to heal. We do our bodies want to get to a state of equilibrium, of healing, of rest. And one of the other things I learned in your book was how um really powerfully important the nervous system is in the healing process and getting it down into that state in which it can rest and recover, and
Yeah.
that blockages really do, whether they be emotional, physical, or otherwise, blockages really do prevent your overall well-being, your overall nervous system from ever reaching any kind of ability to recover or rest or heal
Yeah.
it it all. Um, what do you hope people get from reading your book? What are your hopes that people will walk away with?
The feeling of being able of healing yourself and helping to get different angles of the healing process and where you can get help within yourself and in the contact with the spirit world. So in that way, it's like you're not alone. They would help you. That you have the capacity to do that within yourself. And for me, a healing process, when you heal yourself, you also, because everybody is mirroring you. So when you are a better place within yourself, the surroundings will sense that, and that invite them into a better place with themselves and in their lives. So just, it's like ring in the water. So when you start to do your healing process and do your part, you will automatically help the rest without even doing a lot of extra work. You just have to do it by yourself. And again, that's a part of the Ho'oponopono from Hawaii, because they work very much about to what you experience, you can do something about, and you can work with that. You can work with take responsibility for yourself, for what your family have done to other people, and be in this deep contact with the healing energy, with the divine, with God, with the ancestors, and lift the humanity. And I hope this book will help the reader to live their own life, their own spirit, and in that way also help to lift the world and humanity. So that's my simple hope for the book in the world.
I love that.
Yeah.
I read it. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I'm going to do some of the meditations. I am always constantly feeling like I am in a state of healing. Like I have been on a healing journey for the last decade of my life, and this is one more tool in my toolbox that I'm going to start incorporating into my life. I've come so far, I really have, but I don't. Maybe my healing journey is going to be never ending. I have no idea, but I am always,
Yes,
you
so yeah,
know, it's just a journey, and I'm on it now, and I'm in a level of surrender to it
yeah,
rather than resistance, which is going a lot better for me.
yeah.
But I got to tell you, I'm really grateful we had this conversation. Do you have do you heal people remotely at all? I know you're located in Denmark. Do you do in person, or do you offer your services to everybody worldwide, or is this an in-house
Like,
situation?
it's what I'm planning is I have a Danish. What I've been doing for the over the 20 past 20 years, yeah, actually 23 years of my life, is that I have a morning healing meditation that I have been doing for myself, and now for the past 5 years I have had a Danish group, but we are around 200 people now. Where 4 days a week sit down and send distant healing, and then we have a live healing meditation for the day. And I'm planning to maybe start that up in English as well. So in that way, it could be a possibility to, get help to continue everyday healing journey. Uh, I don't right now offer one-to-one distant healing thing, because I have most of my practices now being teaching as a spiritual teacher. So I have a lot of students, and do not have so many clients in that way. But right now there's a big shift. I have been changing from a very big, a lot of teaching, a big place. So now the first of January, I'm out of that and my life is open. So I don't really know right now what I will do, but I really like those healing meditations that help each one that's listening to them to get in a much better contact with themselves and the everyday life. and build up the energy slowly but surely with a lot of power. I really like that work because I know that's the way we can turn the world around to a better place.
Yes, yes. Well, I will definitely put the link in the show notes to the meditations. I will put the link to the book, of course. And I would like to thank you for coming on the Fate podcast. I really enjoyed our conversation. I think what you're doing is so, so important. I feel like the future of healing is right where you are. And it is, healing is something that is so multi-layered, complex. It's not only about what you eat, but it's so much about your emotions, your energy, your feeling, your soul essence, which everybody needs to start doing a little bit more investigation on who they are, which is much deeper and much bigger than we think.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Chrissy. I'm so honored to be here, and I'm so deeply in my heart, so humbled that you really enjoy the book and that you appreciate it because I had made it. No, the spirit had made it. I just follow the path, but I'm s- I'm really happy that you feel how precious it is and how much help that you can gain with the contact to the humanity and your soul.
I highly recommend this book, especially if you've had any kind of long term chronic illness or any kind of long term emotional issues. It is going to improve your well being, your life. You're going to get tools that will help you. And, nothing's better than that, than feeling your best, than, you know, being able to step into your soul purpose, than having your whole soul essence and being able to be feeling that within. I mean, it's just the entire thing is magical. I love it. I'd love to have you back on the show. I'd love to talk about, seeing dead people. I'm a big fan of that.
I know. I will definitely. Yeah, thank you so much. So thank you very much. I would love that, and I would love to share with your listeners as well.
I would love that too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank Marcia for coming on the show today, all the way from Denmark. Thank you guys, and we will see you next week on Fate, from Atheism to Enlightenment. Journey well, everyone. Bye bye. Alrighty, guys, that is a wrap on this episode of From Atheism to Enlightenment. I want to thank Marcia for coming onto the show and sharing her expertise. She is a delight. And I really think you should pick up her book. I learned a lot in that book. I'm going to do some of the healing meditations. I'm going to see where that gets me. You know, healing, if you're in a situation where you are seeking your health, or you have health issues, or you don't feel your best, and you're not addressing or thinking about the spiritual side of your health, your spiritual well being, maybe trauma that you are carrying over from a previous life. There's ancestral trauma. We didn't even really get into inner child work. There's so many different facets to us that need to be addressed in order for us to feel our best. And this book really talks about that. Yes, it's about what you put in your mouth. Yes, it's about what your toxicity level is. There's lots of things in our environment that are filling us with toxins every single day. We're swimming in them, from the air we breathe to the water we drink to the food that we eat. All of it is, I wouldn't exactly say pure or all that good for us, depending on what you're talking about, but they all matter to how well you're going to feel. But if you're not addressing the energetic being that you are, the spiritual side, your soul essence, you're missing a critical piece of the healing puzzle. And especially if you are suffering from mental unwellness, for feelings that you don't understand, um, having episodes, being locked in a pattern of thinking, those are all things that I think can be treated better than a antidepressant, better than years of therapy, with a spiritual healing, with meditation, with sitting with somebody who has gifts that can help you heal that emotional blockage, that trauma that is stored in your body and causing you, whether it be physical pain or mental unwellness. So if you are out there, you're physically ill, you're mentally unwell, and you're not addressing the spiritual being that you are, then I suggest you pick up this book or do some research or give that a lot of thought, because I think all of us could feel so much better if we were more in alignment and feeling more of our soul essence about what makes us happy, what brings us joy, feeling the ability to release feelings within of unworthiness, of guilt, shame. All of those things can accumulate in your body. Trauma stored can create serious health issues. So if you're not addressing the whole of who you are, and let's face it, you're mostly energy, most of it. I know we like to think that we're like super materialistic and you can feel us and I can touch this cabinet and but quantum mechanics will tell you that we are mainly air. The nature of our 3D physical reality is much different, I think, than what we interpret it with our five senses. And I think the more and more and more science marches on, the more and more and more we're going to come to understand that it's much more about frequency, energy, vibration than it is about physical matter. So, you know, keep on keeping on if you are on your healing path. I think I'm going to be on my healing path. Who knows how long? I know I'm going to feel my best. I know my best years are ahead of me, not behind me. And I'm absolutely marching in this direction as if it is already mine. That's all you can do. Pick up her book, Your Soul, Your Life, A Guide to Healing and Self-Healing. There really is a wealth of information in there. And I'm going to definitely be tapping into the Pillar of Light meditation, healing meditations. I will put the link in the show notes to her meditations. And I hope you continue to stick with me, keep listening, and help me out. If you like what I'm doing, tell a friend, share it, like, subscribe, even leave a comment. I'm all for it. I will respond. I will interact. And I appreciate any and all feedback. I have gotten a few little negative feedbacks, but some of them I haven't addressed only because I am trying to live from a very spiritual love perspective and not react like the old me. The old me can be pretty harsh. So I'm trying to either refrain or be really kind to anybody who has not the most friendly advice for me, or whatever you want to say it, or negative comments. So I'm working that out. I'm trying to step into a new way of being more compassionate, loving, and not so harsh as I have been in previous years. So I'm growing, man. I'm growing. It's a journey. And on that note, we will see you next week on the F.A.T.E podcast. Journey well, everyone. And welcome to your fate. I'll see you later.